Trump declared China as America's strategic competitor in the race for military, geopolitical, and technological dominance, a policy that has not changed under current President Joe Biden. In October last year, President Biden announced what could be the most devastating blow to the Chinese yet, sweeping export curbs on advanced semiconductors made with American technology. At the same time, the Chinese have invested heavily into becoming a tech powerhouse, characterized by Beijing's Made in China 2025 plan. First announced in 2016, its main goal was to achieve 70% self-sufficiency in semiconductors by 2025. The longer-term goal is to surpass Western technological prowess.
你好，我是悟空，全球首款拥有生命感的。
I do think that the Xi Jinping's Made in China 2025 certainly alarmed the U.S. government, and here the the concern was not only the China's tech rise, but the pace at which China's tech rise was taking place, and at the same time the U.S.-China strategic rivalry was intensifying, and therefore United States wanted to limit China's technological development as soon as possible.
The US sees China's tech rise as a national security threat. Especially alarming is the integration between China's private sector and military establishment, otherwise known as military-civil fusion. It is the two-way transfer of technology, resources and information between military and civilian entities, which would allow Beijing to modernize its armed forces.
What the Biden Commerce Department and Biden's National Security Advisor have indicated is that this process is speeding up in this time. So there's more integration between the civilian and the military technology development, which is creating a little bit of a security and economic challenge for America.
I don't think clipping China's rise is in the new U.S. national interest. What the U.S. is asking is, what is in our national interest when it comes certainly to our security, and how do we make sure that we continue to have this vibrant economic engagement without harming our national security? What's changing is that China is fusing the military and the economic more and more. That is changing the U.S. model for how to deal with that.
In China, the companies are doing what they are supposed to do, and in a philosophical sense, everything you produce can be used by either the civilian side of the equation or by the military side of the equation. If the United States wants to see a ghost on the wall, let me assure you, they will see ghosts splattered everywhere on the wall. If they want to start with good intentions, they will see angels everywhere in the world. China is not an enemy of the United States.
But that hasn't stopped the US from doubling down its tech war against China. And the semiconductor industry is seen as its massive trump card. On October 7th last year, the US announced sweeping export control measures to curb the sale of advanced chips and equipment to China. This follows the CHIPS Act, signed into law last August, which barred American citizens and green card holders from working with Chinese chip companies. It is a multi-pronged strategy to dent China's technological ambitions.
I think the USA has identified a critical area that could hurt China badly, and the USA also knows that China does not really have many other options to respond to this. If you're talking about rice cookers, calculators, vacuum cleaners, the USA is not concerned that Chinese firms manufacture the chips that go into these machines. But when it comes to the latest military equipment, the latest radar systems, the artificial intelligence, the quantum computing, stuff that are necessary for the most advanced digital economy, the USA wants to curtail China's development and progress.
The CHIPS Act is also aimed at beefing up American chip production. It allocates more than $50 billion for domestic semiconductor research, development and manufacturing. This would ensure American primacy in the tech space.
The U.S. is looking at China. It's not trying to stop China. What the U.S. needs to do is be able to think of it as a track meet. How do I outrun China? How do I get to be faster? How do I get to be stronger? I do that by investing in the United States. And that's something that the United States is doing now with the Infrastructure Act and how it's trying to move much stronger on the green economy.
Biden's package includes a $39 million manufacturing incentive, subsidizing the construction and expansion of semiconductor facilities. In some of the more pessimistic reports, the ban could set Chinese tech industry back by decades. On the other hand, prohibitions could end up accelerating China's advancement. Already, Beijing has responded with a $143 billion package to spur research and development. Meanwhile, there are rumors that Huawei is developing a 3-nanometer chip. If it materializes, this would be the company and China's most advanced.
Any maximum pressure on China, try to push China down in the semiconductor sector, will only result in one thing and one thing only. That is, China will keep pouring millions of billions of dollars into semiconductor research and development, and by another 10 years or so, I truly believe China will no longer need to import any chips from anywhere in the world.
Yes, temporarily we will see likely a slowdown in China's ability to be a technological superpower. However, we shouldn't take that as a prediction of the future. China has been developing their technology sphere for decades and will continue to do so.
But regardless of whether China comes out ahead in the end, many feel hard done by the American actions.
我认为科技其实应该是帮助全人类去更好的生活的这样一个存在，但是美国他们却以技术垄断来打压中国，我觉得这个其实是非常不理智的。
然后，其实美国找了一些借口，像我个人认为哈，就是什么制度啊、信仰啊、理念啊，我觉得呢，可能就是不愿意老大不愿意把位置让给老二。
I would say if any country bets on depriving the Chinese people of their right of development, that will constitute the biggest crime against humanity in human history. So be aware of that. Don't play with fire or try to hold China down, depriving the Chinese people of their right of economic development.
But while these companies escape the fallout for now, there are longer-term risks if the chips war intensifies into a technological decoupling. One outcome would be different standards and protocols, where Chinese-made chips no longer interface with American devices. Countries could also be forced to choose sides, whether to do business with China or the US.
Well, it's bad for everybody, right? Including the US and China, right? But the game that we play now, because the US-China strategic rivalry intensifies, it's not one of positive sum game. Here we are not, thinking about, where to generate profits and so on and so forth. The game that we play is one of negative sum game. The real question is who's going to disbenefit less, and the USA is willing to bear out the cost so long as the China, right, suffers more from this decoupling process and tech competition. My view is that unless the Chinese government can come up with some sort of revolutionary technology to achieve some level of self-sufficiency, China will definitely stand to lose.
At the recent Twin Sessions meeting, President Xi called on his fellow countrymen to unite in the face of mounting challenges posed by the West to contain and suppress China's development. A call which some, like Gao Yuxin, believes they can answer.
我们已经有了非常坚实的条件，加上这几年越来越多的人，他们对，就是越来越多的人，越来越多的年轻人，他们投身于科研领域， 他们将会为我们突破这个技术壁垒，会创造一个更好的条件。所以我觉得这个不是我们特别需要去担心的一个问题。将来的某一天，相信我们国家的年轻人，我们国家的科研人才一定可以打破这种技术壁垒。
在过去几年，我觉得中美之间的半导体的技术的差距，肉眼可见的肯定是在缩小的，对。然后无论是整个的大芯片的设计能力，关键技术的突破，还是整个产业链里面的一些基础产业，包括晶圆厂，我们现在也已经突破了7纳米的一个技术了，对。这是第一点。那第二点的话呢，就是我们在进步，美国也在进步，对。所以我觉得在这个里面呢，我们目前还处在一个相对来说是比较追赶的一个阶段，差距在缩小。但是呢，什么时候我们能够赶上，并且能够超越，这是一个好问题了。对。
No one can exclude China from the digital economy and the new economy that are unfolding as we speak. China will be a leader and a major pillar in this new and exciting sector, which will benefit mankind as a whole. Let's cooperate rather than kill each other. If you want to kill your largest customer in this case, China, in the semiconductor business, will refuse to be killed. It will bounce back and become more prosperous.